about where I want to take this state, and this is the best way that I think I can have this conversation with you. I started my campaign one Friday afternoon, February 6th of this year. Started the day in Birmingham by doing a TV interview early in the morning. Went to the Harvard Center and spoke to about 250 folks who showed up on 3 days' notice at the Harvard Center. And then I came home. Because as my producer pointed out, this is home for me. Montgomery's home. And I went around the corner from here, and I stood on the steps of the Alabama Department of Archives and History. And I have been traveling a lot of highways and a lot of byways for the last 10 months. And I've seen a whole lot of people. I've heard a little bit more hurt than I thought I would hear when I started out on the trail. I've run into a few more dashed dreams than I thought I would run into. Remember, I was in Mountain Brook, Alabama. For those of you who don't know Jefferson County, Mountain Brook is kind of Wind Lakes and Halcyon rolled into one. It's a very affluent, very prestigious municipality. It's not subdivision, it's its own city, a municipality. We had a little meet and greet, and about 40 people came out to hear about my vision for the state and my goals as potential governor. At the very end, ladies and gentlemen, there was a woman who stood up. You know, she said, my husband and I live in Mountain Brook, Mr. Davis. My husband, until a few months ago, was managing a local store of a national retail chain. We were doing very well. Even had some rental property. 2 months ago, he got a notice from his national company that they were making some downsizing, they were making some cuts, they were eliminating some employees, so they needed one less office, which meant one less manager. He was the last manager promoted, therefore the first one fired. We thought he would find work easily. There aren't too many people in this economy looking to absorb someone at his salary level. We thought, well, he has a college education. We assumed he would find his place in the workforce. We were wrong. And you know how she ended her comments, ladies and gentlemen? She said, in the last several months, we've gone from having a perfect credit rating to being 2 months behind on our mortgage payment. The folks who were living in the rental property got laid off too. They couldn't make the payments. Now we have to make those payments as well, and we're about to have a family meeting this weekend because our daughter's at the University of Alabama, and we have reached the point that we have to choose between making our mortgage payment and keeping her in school. And because it's her house too, and because it's her education, we've decided to leave the choice in her hands. A 19-year-old girl having to make a choice in Mountain Brook, Alabama. Where do we have to go? Where do we get to stay? I mentioned the K is from Wilcox County. A week after I got in the race, I got a call from the national CEO of Weyerhaeuser. And he said, Mr. Davis, I want you to be the first elected official to know that that shop that we've had, that company we've had that makes cardboard boxes, has been one of the major employers in Southwest Alabama for a generation. There are 336 people employed there. We used to have 700. I want you to be the first to know that at 5 o'clock today, we're going to call in our workforce and we're going to inform them that this plant is closed. A week later, I went down there, gathered a room full of former employees, about 200 of them showed up. woman stood up and said, Mr. Davis, I used to think unemployment happened to people who didn't work hard. I used to think that I worked for one of the best companies, one of the most secure companies. I thought I would always have a job because God had blessed me to be in a good place and He gave me a good work ethic. And now, for the first time in my life, she said, I had to pick up the phone book. She confessed she wasn't an internet person. She didn't know anything about this going online business, but she picked up the phone book. And she had to look in the blue pages to find the Alabama Unemployment Office. And that she had to sort through a stack of papers telling her what she had to do to get food stamps. And as I traveled this state, ladies and gentlemen, I've heard the same statistics you have. I know that a year ago we were talking about how well we were weathering the recession. I know a year ago we were talking about the fact that our unemployment was much lower than the national average. I know as recently as May 1st, 2008, unemployment was 4.8%, and the front page of the Birmingham News said Alabama's economy has dodged a bullet and is probably going to weather the recession if it happens better than most states will. Our unemployment numbers are now 10.9%. And those of you in the room who really know your stuff in this area realize that after you've been unemployed for so long, if you hadn't found work, they stop counting you. It's estimated that at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, 16% of our people are unemployed or have been unemployed for so long that they literally have become statistically invisible to us. And these are numbers. These are, in many instances, families. Like the family in Mountain Brook that had to vote on college or house. The woman in Wilcox County who had to learn how to apply for food stamps. These are families. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a conversation about just what we can do to shore up the lives and prospects of our neighbors, our friends, all too often some of our own family members. So, you're going to hear all of us who run for governor talk in some detail, in some layer of specifics about just where we want this state to go. You're going to hear us lay proposals on the table. You'll hear us talk about numbers that blow your mind, 100 billion here, 600 million here. As Kay Ivey knows very well, right now we're trying to find a solution for the PACT problem in this state. And I will give her credit, unlike some people running for governor, she agrees with me. This is a moral commitment that we have to keep. You're going to hear us saying it may take X amount of hundreds of millions of dollars to keep that commitment. And you're going to hear us give you all these numbers, and your eyes will start to glaze over. And you'll start to think this is just a lot of policy talk. But I want you to realize this is a conversation and a debate about just what we can do to keep our people strong, to honor the incredibly good, hard-working, decent people who make up our state. So I want to spend the next 10 minutes giving you one candidate's version of what we need to do. And I want to make a simple, declarative sentence at the outset. We have got to figure out a way to grow our job base in this state, or we're going to lag behind for very long.